Hello everyone and welcome back for level 4 of Santa in Trouble. And in this level I actually die at least a couple of times because of some jumps. But I mean, generally if you're dying in this game you're going to do it while jumping. I'm pretty sure you spend more time in the air than you do walking toward the end of the game. Really, there's no reason to walk at all now that I think about it. You could just jump everywhere in the game. I like that these snow trolls are lined up so that you can jump between the two adjacent platforms if you want to. But I just chose to jump over the snow trolls themselves, because we already know how to do that. And here's some more presents above a moving platform that we have to jump to get, and those are the jumps I die to, I believe. Because jumping while you're on a moving platform is something tricky, no matter what game you're playing, really. And here are some more adjacent platforms with some more snow trolls, which are more difficult because the adjacent platforms are placed differently. But really, it's nothing compared to the end of the last level, so you shouldn't die there. You might notice there's a timer at the top of the screen. I haven't really talked about that yet. There are a couple levels where I'm sure we're going to run out the timer, but it doesn't kill you. The timer just gives you extra points. And you don't get as many points if the timer runs out. But there's no one comparing scores for this game, and the online leaderboards are down. They've been down for a long time. This game came out in 2002. Here's another platform with presents above it, which seem to be specifically designed to give me issues, but we made it through this one okay. You can't land on those houses in the background. If you try to do that, you just fall through them into your doom. Those houses aren't real, you see. This game's a little bit odd with its setting, now that I think about it, because we don't even know where Santa is right now, really. I suppose he could be at the North Pole, but, there are an awful lot of snow trolls and houses up here. These tiny platforms right here used to give me a fair amount of anxiety when I was first playing the game. How young and foolish I was to be scared of these small platforms. Nothing in 3D platformers will scare you anymore after you're done with Santa's in Trouble. I remember being proud of getting a no-death run in Maximo. Getting a no-death run in Santa Claus in Trouble, that's a real accomplishment. And that may seem silly based on what you're seeing right now, but have you done a no-death run of Maximo? No, so I clearly know what I'm talking about. That's how logic works, right? This middle platform gives you an easy way to escape from the snow trolls, but you can just jump over both of them when they walk into each other and clip together. This is one of the moving platforms that gives me trouble, again because of the presence above it. That's what I remember this stage for the most, is that it has these platforms with presents above them, and it's what I died to the first time. It's time for some more friendly chimney fun time. I told you we would be seeing more of these. They're some of my favorite platforms because they're the easiest platforms in the game, really. And they show off exactly how maneuverable Santa is in the air. Maybe not here, but you'll see it in stage 5 or 6. By the way, if we press the backspace key, the publisher's logo comes up for some reason, and it acts as a weird pause menu, but the timer doesn't stop ticking down. And I don't know how to leave that pause menu, so I'm not going to show it off. But we're about at the end of this stage anyway. There are a couple more moving platforms with a single present on each. And I don't believe these platforms go backwards, so if we miss these presents, then we have to jump to our death if we want them. Luckily, I don't manage to screw up 2 very simple jumps, so we make it to the end without issue. Here are the first jumps that might be genuinely difficult for the average person. These platforms fall as soon as we jump on them, so we need to jump again immediately after we touch down, and they are just a little bit higher than each other. It's also important to land in the middle of those platforms, otherwise you might not have enough height to reach the one in front of you. I mean, depending on how well you time your double jump, you should be able to land on them anywhere, but landing in the middle is the safest. Look at this tiny ice platform. Look at this tiny ice platform. Even though we can safely control the ice physics, those tiny ice platforms don't give us a lot of room to move, so we wanna jump off them as quickly as possible. It's always safer to be in the air than to be on a platform, because you can move in the air quite a bit. There's no reason to mess around with the ice physics on those small platforms when you have the ability to levitate Santa at the press of a button. Here's some more falling platforms, but these ones bob back up. So they're a little bit less cruel. That may look kind of harrowing right there, jumping on all those ice platforms in a row, but just, you know, jump off them as soon as you land on them. You have plenty of time to adjust yourself. We could have jumped over these chimneys, but there are a couple presents we would have missed. And then we wouldn't have gotten to see all these neat snow troll enemies that look exactly like the ones we've seen before. I guess I was wrong about where my first death was, but I was right about it being to a moving platform. I should have just been patient and waited to see exactly when the platform turned, but we all make mistakes, and I make a lot of them in this game in particular. These little mistakes are going to seem silly later in the game, where there are moving platforms and ice just everywhere. Like I said, we can control the ice physics perfectly, so there's no reason to worry about these tight corners, and even if you are worried about the tight corners, again, just jump. These snowmen are a new type of enemy, and we're going to have to run underneath them while they're bouncing in the air. That's basically their whole thing, is that instead of jumping over them, we have to run underneath them. This extra area right here is kind of easy to miss, because that platform we took to get here is also very easy to miss. It's another tiny ice platform, but I already told you how to deal with these, so getting that extra life, no problem. No problem at all. The gaps between these regular platforms, however, are quite big, so it's easy to miss these jumps. Gotta time your double jump really well. But these are the most difficult jumps in the level, so if you can handle those, you're all good. Should be a clear shot through the rest. More snow trolls for us to jump over, or we could jump around them. Could make a clear diagonal shot to the next set of platforms, but then we wouldn't get the presents. Whenever I see these chimneys, it's really kind of a relief, because they never let you down. They have a really lenient hitbox, and as soon as you touch them, you go flying really high in the air. It's a shame you can't use them to break the game design. I mean, I guess that's not really a shame, so much as a good thing. But this game is too simple to be broken, at least that I've seen. If you could think of a way to break it, that would be neat, but this game's too simple for that, I think. Bunch of small rows of platforms with snow trolls that move in very predictable patterns. If they moved in more erratic patterns, if they were less in sync, this would be more challenging. But as it stands, you know, you just wait. This last one has 2 of them, but that's not really that much more difficult. If they did move in more erratic patterns, I could show off some of my polygon-perfect precision platforming. But maybe later. Welcome to level 6 of Santa's in Trouble, where dreams are made and broken. The reason I say this is because I've spent the most time replaying this level because of a single jump that seems rather trivial now. But it wasn't trivial at the time. You can see exactly what I mean by controlling the ice physics. I could have just jumped off the platform, but I wanted to show you can make a mockery of this game's ice physics really well. There's also a new enemy type here, but we're more concerned with the snowmen, because this is the first time where we have to run. Oh dear. Well, the birds are the new enemy type. They usually move back and forth like the snow trolls, but in the air, which makes them more dangerous because you can't always jump over them, but usually you can. Now, You know, I'll see you in a second. As I was saying, the guys we really want to watch out for are the snowmen. The snowmen give me the most trouble out of all the enemies in the game. You figure it would be really simple, you just have to run under them. But I have this weird issue where I wanna predict their movements, wanna read them ahead of time. But you can't really do that, you just have to wait. I mean, they have an audio cue too, but the audio cue doesn't always work. This jump is kind of tricky because this platform falls as soon as you step on it. And it's kind of a big jump to that friendly chimney, but we made tougher jumps in the extra section of the last level. I always hate this right here, because I really want this extra life, but I always end up jumping onto the snowman after I get it. Not this time, though. This time I showed them what for. Another extra area over here to our left. You'll noticing that we're jumping on these small ice platforms with no issue, which, you know, you should learn to do that by this point yourself. And there's actually another extra life up here that we just passed. Don't worry, we'll get it on the way back. It's rare for 2 extra lives to be so close together. But I needed them when I played this level the first 100 or so times because of a jump that's coming up. The jump was so bad that I actually considered not even recording the rest of the game. And I was just like, I can't do it. But I kept at it. Would have been a little embarrassing to admit that I couldn't get past Santa Claus in trouble, but you know, there are a lot of really easy sounding things that aren't so easy. Like trying to explain that I couldn't get past Chameleon Twist's Kidland level. That was a bit difficult. Or Winnie the Pooh's Home Run Derby. All things that are difficult that don't seem like it. Anyway, we're pretty near the difficult jump that I almost gave up the game over, but you're not even going to notice it, I'm sure. Let me know if you notice it. Okay, well, we've long passed it. Did you miss it? Because if you can't guess which one it was, I don't blame you. And I'm really curious if it was just that difficult for me, or if it was for everybody else, too. Either way, we're clear for the rest of the level now, because it's just a bunch of chimneys until the end. And granted, it's a big open space with nothing but chimneys. But chimneys, as I've already said, are the safest platforms in the game. They're your friends. There's really no going wrong with them. Unless it's these mean chimneys. These mean chimneys are jerks. Also really easy to jump over, though. Alright, and that's it for this video, and I'll catch you next time for the final 4, which are significantly harder than everything we've seen so far.